I want to take it back to challenges though, because you brushed on that. There's some days where you just don't want to do it, or you question yourself. Maybe you should have pursued real estate. God knows I had that. For me, it was more external. Like, I had, my family, friends pressure. As you get older, you kind of start seeing what they've been doing with their life. I reinvented myself at 25. And even though that's extremely young, I always thought it was like old, or like, especially where I'm from, it's like you should have your shit figured out by that time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to just know, like, were these pressures internal or were they external? Like, were they coming from maybe family, friends, or is this what you saw on social media, or were they just coming from yourself because you put a lot of pressure?
I think it was just, I think I have a tendency to get in my own head a lot.
Yeah.
And it's something that, I've been plagued with my entire life, and it's a gift and a curse.
Right.
But I, whether it's sports, cooking, archaeologists,
Yeah.
I tend to admire the people who are at the top of their game in their
Right.
craft. And I understood that for me to get anywhere close to the chefs that I admired, that I was going to have to really, put my head down and grind. So there's a little bit of that. And then also I kind of semi-intentionally put myself into the fire by working at some really high demand restaurants before I really even had the skill to keep up.
Yeah. Wow.
So there was a lot of, tough nights, early mornings wondering, hey, I start at 1:00,
Yeah.
this is going to be another tough
You weren't
day.
looking forward to your job.
No,
Wow.
absolutely not. Because I was 21, 22. I wasn't where I needed to be. And, it was a challenge. Every day was a grind, but it made me into something a little bit different.
Diamond. Pressure makes
I was just going to say adversity. Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, and I agree. And there's just sometimes people, I have a lot of cooks that ask me, a similar question, how can I get there? And it's just like, man, it's just a collection of a lot of little things that get you where you need to be. Mm-hmm. And it's also about putting your time in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show up. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, that's how you get respect, though. Time.
You got to put your time in.
That's how you get the respect.
But showing up, right? Like that
Showing up,
expression.
yeah,
like people think, oh, I got to do the work. It's like, no, you just got to show up, and then the rest will follow.
Yeah.
But some people can't show up. Like,
if you can do the work and you show up, if you can't do the work and you show up and you try,
I say
you get
show
respect too.
I say show up because Joe and I had conversations where like people will just cancel last minute or just won't bother. Literally physically showing up. And for me, again, I look at that, that's the hardest part because fear gets to them, and it's like when you show up, when you have that confidence to present yourself, people will see that you're willing to learn, you're willing to be great. There have been so many times that I've been on set where I just, felt lost and insecure because I didn't go to film school. I'm self-taught. And I still feel a little bit of an imposter syndrome, I'll be honest with you, because there's a lot of people with great knowledge. But the one thing that I have within me is tenacity and the ability to tell a story. So that's what's going to carry me, right? But what I'm saying is that if I didn't have that ability to show up on set or in these rooms, and I would always like beat myself to a drum, like, okay, you ain't shit. You didn't go to film school.
Yeah.
These people would be, passing me any which way. So.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Completely agree.
Thank you.
It's it's like what you were saying with the, fake it till you make it. It's not about actually being fake. It's just about showing up as that person that you want to show up as.
Yeah.
Before you have the confidence to show up as that person.
100%.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's big. I have to tell myself that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I like about you is you're humble. And I always tell Joe, I only work with people with good character. You can be really talented, but I just don't bother. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just because how I'm raised. My mother's kind of person where, she'll see celebrities not signing autographs, taking pictures, and I'll say something like, yeah, but mom, they're busy whenever. Like, doesn't matter. We made them. Remember that. We bought their tickets. She's like, and if God willing that happens to you, I better see you walk up to everyone and do that. I was like, but I'm saying that's the mentality I grew up on. So I have right. So what I'm saying in terms of bad character, there's no excuses.
No excuses.
There's no excuses for bad character. Like I don't. Joe knows this. The people I surround myself with. If you have bad work ethic, if you're sloppy, if you're lazy, if you're this or that, I empathize a lot because I've been in those situations. So I know a lot. But if you start showing bad
Wait,
behavior,
you empathize for lazy people?
I empathize for lazy people to an extent that if they're not hurting, if they have nothing,
I have no empathy for anybody lazy.
no, what I'm saying is that they're not hurting me. Like they can do their thing. They're not going to be in my life in the sense of like
Gotcha.
associated with my business.
Gotcha.
But I mean, like, there's one thing for them to be lazy, pretentious, condescending. That's another thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm with you on that, Joe. It's like lazy people I'll tolerate, but I won't incorporate. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Yeah.
You got to keep, we all have a friend, that we grew up with, or somebody that you were really tight with, that you kind of, as you level up, or as you
Yes.
kind of figure out,
and they stay there,
and you figure out what you want,
and they still
they
trying to
stay
figure it
there,
out.
and they try to bring you back
Yeah.
into whatever.
Nah, man, don't work with me.
I
Exactly. I know exactly where you're going. This, you know what? I'm so allergic to that. I need an EpiPen. Like honestly, man, I can't.
People you cut out.
Yeah, man. I'm allergic to laziness and to like complacentness. Like yo, epping me up. Like.
But that's what I mean, right? It's like I'll tolerate you, whatever, in the sense like we're not gonna go out of my way to hang out, but like I won't, like I don't have any bad blood. It just comes down to character. But in terms of like progressing and working towards something, oh my God, I witnessed it so many times, and I'm sure you both did as well, right? We're in the arts, right? And there's a lot of wannabes. There's a lot of people like I want to do this and that. And it's like, show up. That's why I think I'm big on the whole show up, because it's like show up and then we'll talk.